order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Convene as Walworth County Planning and Zoning Board. Is there any old business? New business?
Hearing none, I move for adjournment.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Convene as the Walworth County Board of Zoning Adjustment. Is there any old business? New business?
Move for adjournment.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
No second.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Convene as Board of County Commissioners. Number 12, discussion on the Beaman phone call. I put that on there. I looked at my phone when I got home that day. I did get a phone call at 7:09, said unavailable. I don't know about the rest of you guys. I guess I'm still working, but I think it's very petty to, when a Mobridge Dakota Radio Group says that 4 of the 5 didn't answer their phone. It's pretty sad. I don't know who answers their phone all the time, even if you were home for unavailable. And if you don't leave a message, I don't see what, it can't be that important. Like I said, it's very sad that we gotta waste all our time on a phone call where nobody leaves a message. I think it's very petty. I don't know if any other commissioner has anything to say about that. Kevin, do you have anything?
I was just gonna say, with no message to respond to, there's a lot of calls that I get from out of state or even in state that if I don't know who it is, I'm not gonna answer it. So if it's important, leave a message and I'll get back to you.
Marion?
The meeting after the night before that meeting, I actually don't look at my home phone answering service very often, but I actually did remove all the phone calls that I had on that phone. There was no message left on my phone, but there was a number of phone calls that were not from in-state or whatever, that were just numbers that I deleted. I never saw a Salvi number that I deleted. The only thing that might have been is an 845 or an 848 number that I didn't know, but there was no message, so I just deleted the phone call. So without having a message, I don't respond, and my wife does piano lessons from 4 to 8:30 at night, so she does not answer the home phone at that time. And when she's doing piano lessons, I'm normally not at home.
Okay. Dave, do you have anything? No. So anyhow, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. We need to add on there a lease for the recycling center. Is there anything else? I'll put it down.
It doesn't matter.
We'll just do it right up the top of the phone. Now that I take a motion to approve the agenda.
Move.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
A second.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay, 14, public forum.
Okay, first of all, I feel I can address the board for the Beaman phone call that you had on the agenda today. I made those phone calls per your request. If I had questions on the agenda that I should call the commissioners and talk to them. The agenda is posted at 9 a.m. on Monday, the meeting, well, 9 a.m. the day before the meeting, whether it's on a Monday or Thursday, whatever day. And the meeting is held the next day. I did try to call those numbers, and I told the board that I did not leave a message. I don't leave messages because I don't plan to sit by the phone to wait for a phone call back. If I know I'm not gonna be by my phone to receive a phone call, I don't leave messages. And the reason I said that I made the phone calls, because it was insinuated at the meeting that I had not made any phone calls, and I did. I made them on my cell phone so I would have a record that I did actually place phone calls. So for the commissioners to sit here and say, well, I didn't look at my phone, when are we supposed to call you? When the agenda is posted at 9 a.m. and we have until possibly 9 p.m. that evening to make any phone calls if we have questions regarding an agenda item.
Well, then you leave a message.
Well,
Whether you like it or not, then you leave a message. How's anybody supposed to call you back?
well,
Not
Mr.
everybody can possibly in this world be on the same time schedule. I mean, that's just not possible. So how else would you do it if you would not leave a message and say, would you please call me when you get this number?
Well, my point is, okay, we have possibly 12 hours to contact a commissioner. And I realize you all have jobs, you're busy too, like everybody else is. It's unrealistic for someone to be able to get a hold of a commissioner within 12 hours to talk to them about an agenda item.
I guess I don't think it is. I mean, there's people that leave messages for me all the time. That's just how I deal with it.
Well, at the last meeting, Mr. Chairman, you stated that you hadn't even checked your phone that night. So
There
how
was not,
would
there
you,
wasn't a message. My phone shows, it's in my office, the phone showed no message.
you said
shows
you
that
checked
there's a
your
message.
phone, you didn't even check your phone, so.
I can look over it and there's no message.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you on that. That was what you stated at the meeting. But when we come to agenda items, at previous commission meetings, Commissioner Schilling, as chairman of this board, you have stated that you were the one that decides what gets put on the agenda.
I can. Board can do it too. They all can. They
It
can either add or subtract.
Okay, I'm not asking a question, I'm just making a statement. I said you have stated in the past that you were the one that decides what gets put on the agenda. The commissioners can add or delete if they want at the next meeting. So if we're only allowed to speak on agenda items that you choose to put on there, why is that right?
Any commissioner can do what they want to on there. If they want to put something on the agenda, we'll either add it or delete it. That's just how it is. I didn't make the rules.
You're the one that stated what the rules are for our commission meeting.
I said that's the rules for everybody. As far as I know, whatever I've read is exactly what it is.
Okay, and you said that we agreed that this is how it's going to be done. Who is the we? We agreed that the public is only allowed to speak on agenda items. Who is the we?
Well, that's just what it is that says it.
What says it?
I've read it.
Where did you find the information? I would like to be able to find that information and read it also. You
Okay.
said we decided. Who is the we? The information you got in you? Or is it the commission board here?
Commission can say if they don't want that, that's all they gotta do is say, we don't want that. They vote on it.
So as a board, are you going to vote and decide if we can only speak on agenda items
We
during
can
public
do
forum?
that right now if we want. And if we want to vote on this, then we'll vote on it.
So would you hold a vote right now?
Absolutely I would.
Okay?
Because we approved the agenda, we did vote on it already.
As far as what people can speak on during the public forum is what I'm
We
concerned
just
about.
voted on whatever's on the agenda, the whole agenda.
So you're still only gonna allow us to speak on topics that are on the agenda?
Yes. The board just voted on it. They just approved the agenda.
That's the agenda, that's not public forum.
Did you read all of the agenda?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Also, on the bottom of your agenda, it still states that we can speak on important topics.
Better read that. Mine doesn't say that.
The public forum and visitors section offers the opportunity for anyone not listed on the agenda to speak to the commissioners concerning important topics. It doesn't say that we have to speak on
This one here
agenda
does not
items.
say that.
Mine says agenda topics.
Mine says agenda topics.
Well, if somebody's got a copy of the agenda where it says that, then you guys have a problem.
This was printed off of the official Waller County website.
I have no idea.
After she posted it, the changes were made and then it was reposted still before the 9 o'clock deadline.
Well, you still have a problem if you put out misinformation. We are wasting everyone's time here by everyone's pettiness on both sides, commissioners and the group. But if she's got information that's been posted incorrectly, then we probably should go by it. This is why we're wasting our time here. This is why this commission and everyone thinks we're a joke. Because you guys sit and argue about
That's
petty
fine,
little
then
stuff.
talk what you wanna talk about then. I mean, cause I know the change is done.
Okay, well, I think the board, as a commission board for Waller County, needs to decide that, okay, the public is only allowed to speak on items that you feel is necessary to be put on the agenda. If we have some topic that we want to bring before the board, I believe we should be able to do that. If the 5 commissioners do not think that the public should be allowed to come to a commission meeting and bring up a subject, then you need to vote on it and say, nope, we don't want you doing that, rather than sitting here and say, no, you can't do it. You need to hold a vote and decide that.
They vote on the agenda every time.
I'm just gonna go on because you're
But
not
you've never
getting.
voted on whether a person can address as a commission, so that's incorrect. You set the rule that no one can address agenda items anymore. That was set by the commission. Also, it's my understanding that people have called to try and put things on the agenda that you have vetoed. So basically, you do control the agenda.
But I said the commissioners can overturn that.
That's right, but there's never been a vote, so what you're
When
stating
we
is
vote-
incorrect.
When we vote on the agenda, Jamie, we are voting on that.
No, you're not. You're not voting on what can be, you're not voting on whether someone can address the agenda. You set the policy that, which you still break, that no one can address items on the agenda. And then yet, when Ms. Beeman wants to speak on it, you don't let her, but then you talk to people in the crowd, which is violating your own rules that you have set. This commission has never voted on whether they were going to. That is a rule that you set as chair.
When we just voted on to add, I'm just using for example,
That was to add an
Second.
agenda item, not to,
and we don't have
Discuss
to
that.
add it. The
that's right, you don't
commission
have
does
to.
not have to add that.
That's right, but I'm not, you're missing the point. The point is you have never voted as a group on whether you are going to make the rule that people cannot address agenda items. That is a rule that you decided on your own, as
No.
chair.
This is just how it
No,
It looks like it should be done. I mean,
Well, that's
The
fine,
vote-
you can set the rules as
commission
chair,
votes
but
on it.
what, no, you don't. You have never voted. You might as well just admit that Mrs. Beeman is right and you set the rule, because that's the way it was. And it's fine, that's okay. You're the chair, you can set the rules. But you need to follow the rules.
you got the chair right now.
Okay. I have a question on agenda item number 19. And as for the precedent that's been set by Commissioner Hogard in the past, it would be my opinion that it's a conflict of interest for him to be voting on liquor licenses because he holds a liquor license. And I guess I have to assume that today, because it's on the agenda, that Mr. Hogard will also be voting on that item today. My next item I had on here was South Dakota Codified Law 7-21-22. So is there a resolution for our annual adopted budget?
I would guess there is.
It was never read.
It was never read at a commission meeting, so is there a resolution that has been signed? The deadline was October 1st. Has that been done?
Well, I sign a lot of stuff. Has that one been signed yet, Becky?
No, it needs to be signed by the entire board. It was posted in the paper, but it was not read at the meeting.
So it's not been approved.
And the deadline on that was October 1st. Thank you.
Anybody else? Consider motion to approve county commission minutes of October 17th, 2019. Everybody had a chance to go over them? I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Got a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Right?
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. 16, consider motion to approve county commission minutes of October 24th, 2019. You all had a chance to look at them? Do I take a motion? Okay, got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Got a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion passed. You guys all had a chance to go over the claims? So I take a motion. Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second. Got a second, any more discussion? Yes, Vic.
See the SDML Workers' Compensation Fund, entry numbers 74 and 75, those are going to need to be removed from this list.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. Amanda.
Morning. I gave you all a copy of the resolution that was sent from NECOG. If you remember, a few months ago, Jennifer Seetsema from NECOG came here and spoke to you guys about our PDM plan, the pre-disaster mitigation plan. What this plan does, just to refresh you, is it kind of gives us an outline for the next 5 years of some hazard areas that could be used some mitigation. And then it allows us to also, by approving this, get into that HMPG grant money. We have to have an active plan in order to be to qualify for that. I have the first 75 pages that have been sent to me. I don't have the finalized copy until this gets approved. We went in together with Warhawk, so all 5 of our counties are presenting this this week to our commissioners. And so once it's approved and signed, we submit it back in, we'll actually get our finalized copy that was approved by FEMA. And we're good for the next 5 years. So if you want to see any of the projects that I talked to him about, and is that kind of in line with the next 5 years, maybe some goals, some outlines of what we could accomplish. I'll have that, and you guys can read it if you want to, so I just need an approval on this resolution, sign it and get it approved.
Resolution to adopt the Walworth County PDM plan. Walworth County experienced severe damage from strong winds, flooding, hail, heavy snow, heavy rain, and tornadoes on many occasions the past century, resulting in property loss, loss of life, economic hardship, and threats to the public health and safety. A natural hazard mitigation plan has developed after more than 1 year of research and work by Walworth County Emergency Management, NECOG, and the Pre-Disaster Mitigation Committee. The plan recommends hazard mitigation actions that will protect people and properly affected by the natural hazards of the face of the county. A public meeting was held to review the plan as required by law. The chairman of Walworth County Commission met. The Warhawk District Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan is hereby adopted as an official plan of Walworth County. The respective county official identified in the strategy of the plan is hereby directed to implement the recommended action assigned to them. This official report annual on the activities, accomplishments, and progress in Walworth County Commission. The Walworth County Emergency Manager will provide an annual update on the status of implementation of the plan of the County Commission. This update shall be reported by the Commission by November 15th of each year.
I move for approval.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 19, consider motion to approve the alcoholic beverage renewal application of Mobridge Country Club. Is there a reason, Jamie, why Kevin cannot vote on this?
It's a huge conflict of interest. He owns a liquor license. Every vote that this commission has made is made with a conflict of interest. Since Ms. Beeman has raised the issue, I'll address it. That's a huge conflict of interest. But I have not addressed it before since this commission didn't raise it. Mrs. Beeman did. Be no action by Commissioner Holgard, so that way I don't have to deal with a complaint made to peer with regard to conflict of interest.
Is there a difference between a county liquor license and municipal liquor license?
When you own a liquor license that every other liquor license is affected by. So every county liquor license or city, you should not vote on because it affects your liquor license. You can go ahead and vote, but I'm sure I'm going to get a complaint made to peer as soon as you do, since Ms. Beeman's already made it. And I'll tell you right now, it's a huge conflict of interest. So do what you choose. You guys don't listen to me anyhow. So, but it is a huge conflict of interest, and I'm sure I'll be addressing it with peer as soon as Ms. Beeman leaves this meeting if you vote, or have any discussion with regard to a liquor license.
Well, what I'm gonna say is I'm pretty sure because nobody told us before there was a problem. And I guess
Well, that's not my fault that you guys don't know the rules. I'm supposed to answer questions when you ask me. My job is to not sit here and read your minds and know what you know and don't know. But since we've had all these problems, I'm gonna start addressing some of these issues. And as soon as Ms. Beeman pointed out that there's a conflict of interest, I don't wanna have to do the work fighting with peer that somebody here made a mistake because they don't know the rules. So that's why I'm addressing it now. But every vote you have made with regard to a liquor license that Commissioner Holgard has voted on has been a conflict. So I'm just putting that out to the public. You guys should all know better. You go to your meetings in peer. But you choose what you want to do.
I can honestly say that any meeting I've ever been in peer has never said anything about a liquor license.
Then go ahead and let Commissioner
That's
Holgard
fine, but I
vote.
mean, I do believe.
Why are you arguing with me, Scott?
I'm not.
You're
I'm
gonna
just
do what
stating
you
the
want to
fact.
do.
If
No,
Kevin-
you're
if Kevin
arguing.
doesn't have to, if Kevin
So
doesn't
vote.
vote, then don't vote.
Vote or don't, it's up to you
You can
guys.
abstain from it.
Can you never not get the last word in?
I'm just saying,
Correct. Just vote. Do what you're gonna do.
that's fine if you tell us what we shouldn't do. mean, It makes sense.
I just told you.
So Kevin, I'm sure he'll just abstain from it when he gets around to that. So I take a motion to approve this alcoholic beverage renewal application for Mobridge Country Club. Do I got a motion?
So moved.
Okay, you got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
I second it.
Got a second. Any more discussion?
Oh, abstain.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passed. I say something, Gary.
Gary? Gary.
Morning.
New granddaughter yesterday on one baby sick detail today, so. First item on the agenda is, you've probably gotten information on that refund of the Game Fish and Parks for overpayment. Any questions on it? If you want an explanation, I can provide it.
Go ahead.
The original project cost was $308,000. That was the bid cost. $308,372.54. And the funding agreement with the Game Fish and Parks was supposed to be half Walworth County and half Game Fish and Parks. There was a fog seal that the county put on after the fact. So prior to actual closure, a bill was sent for $308,372, at which time we received a payment in the amount of $308,372.54 from the Game Fish and Parks. That was the original contract price. On completion, they recognized that they came under the contract price. So another bill was sent for $262,541.68, and that was also paid by the Game Fish and Parks. The current figures from the Federal Highway Administration, which administered the project, the total project cost was $526,146.77, and of which the Game Fish and Park share was $263,000, plus half of the fog seal that the county provided. So the cost of the Game Fish and Parks agreement should have been $268,945.83. So they were overbilled $39,426. The $39,426.62 needs to be returned to the Game Fish and Parks, and the total reimbursement of the original check, which was $301,968. And it's our recommendation you issue two checks. $262,541.68, and another check for $39,426.62. A total of $301,968.30. So that's below the funding agreement that that was in place, because the project came in cheaper than.
Okay, so now I'll need a motion to, you want to do them separate, correct?
Yes.
Do we need a motion being they were listed in the claims?
Were they already listed in the claims?
Yeah.
No, they've already been approved.
that will close out the Swan Creek project. Any other questions? Moving on, I'd like to close out the Sitka box culvert. There's a construction change order, did I drop them off during the week for signatures?
Yeah.
Okay,
I have
they've
them here
been
for you to
signed?
sign.
okay, I've got a duplicate here and. So if that's all, any questions on that, if that's all good with you, I think there's a completion certificate of completion to be signed too,
Application for payment number 2, final.
I believe so.
It's right here.
Okay, and will you be vouchering them out or will we?
Normally you guys would voucher now,
Okay,
because we aren't sure whether it goes to, different projects go to secondary roads or HBR and stuff like that, so. We do have claims in here for B&E.
32,000 plus or minus?
There's a 10,391.05 retainage. The change orders, asphalt, seeding, fertilizer.
It should
They're already
total
entered.
somewhere in the vicinity of 32,000.
Let's pull that voucher. Does anybody? It's entry number 5. Do you have the A's for there, Kevin?
I have it, mine started 66.
I was thinking we vouchered that.
32,639.09.
That's a good
Yep, so
number.
that one's already been approved in the claims as well.
And I believe there's also a voucher for $5,888. That was the engineering.
Clark,
Yep.
yes. That's in there as well.
Okay. And that should close out the Sitka box culvert. Questions, comments?
Glad we're done.
I got way too many papers there. Is the community access grant, Sitka, 319 on the agenda, right? I'd like to close that out. That project has been 100% funded. The contractor came in last week and did some drainage modifications to the ditch on the south side. And here is a certificate of substantial completion. It needs to be approved, and there might be a construction change order or two in there that need to be signed, so.
KLJ in the bottom there. Together.
Like I said, too many papers. Moving on,
Yep.
Do we have,
consider,
I'm sorry, do we need motions to sign these certificate of completions?
If we've already paid them,
Okay.
then we don't need to.
Okay.
and there is the contract with KLJ to do that damage assessment on that timber bridge structure, 136th Street, approximately 1.8 miles of US 83. If you remember, the road was closed for light vehicle traffic by the highway department pending a structure assessment. That's the contract. The contract indicates not to exceed $2,500. And they did do the service yesterday, and I'll be getting a memo of findings this week. Preliminary conversation was that it's safe enough to use for light vehicle traffic. Until then, we'll be looking at some kind of a structure replacement next year.
What do you think of going back in there with, or don't you have an idea?
It was briefly discussed, like a corrugated metal pipe. Traffic volumes, I think, are real low on that, and, like I said, just preliminary conversation that, more than likely will be a corrugated metal pipe. The engineering firm will size the replacement, and, maybe, just maybe county forces will do it, so.
Alrighty. Yeah, we'll do a motion for that. To sign it.
You guys already approved it, right? Didn't you?
I don't think we approved that contract yet.
We, last meeting,
Unless that was one that you discussed with KLJ before.
I thought we did it last meeting. Yeah, it was done last meeting, I think, in a motion, and that contract just came to, for signature to provide the service, so. I think it was approved last meeting.
In the minutes, just says Byrie reported on the timber bridge structure showing fatigue, and he will be closing it except for light traffic for liability concerns.
Okay.
So I don't know that
We'll need approval and
we make a motion to approve
We won't have it on the agenda though, that's
the, yeah, we do. Sign the contract. You do?
That's all I have.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve that KLJ engineering.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, any second?
I'll second it.
Got a second, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay, motion passed.
And I'm kinda calling around to get some prices on renting an excavator. We found an estimated 11,000 ton of gravel in the Lawrence pit, and I've been extensively within the guidelines trying to find a crusher that would come in this year yet off a joint power agreement request. I'm having a hard time getting that done. I felt it was important to get some kind of a gravel pile plug up this winter so we could sleep better over the winter months knowing that we had some gravel on the ground. if a road went bad, then we'd have the material for it, but, that's kind of falling apart. 11,000 tons is, it's kind of an administrative nightmare. It's too much to leave in the pit and close it out and reclaim it, and it's not really enough to bring a contractor in. So I met with the town council in Glenham last night. If you're aware of where the Lawrence pit is, on the west side of the road, Leo Boydie has some grain bins there, and there's some knobs down there that, based on the construction activity we did from the cemetery road going south by Glenham, I know there's gravel in that knob. And so I've been negotiating of the possibility that county forces bring trucks in and haul that up to the gravel pit to increase our volumes. The utility locate went in Monday morning. Tomorrow morning, I believe we can go in and do some test holes and determine if there's gravel there and how much gravel is there. And it would be a situation where an excavator could load our trucks and shoot across the road and up into the pit and relocate the gravel. The town of Glenham doesn't really want mining that close to town. And so it's still kind of a negotiation phase, but we did some test holes on different various properties around Glenham on where we felt there was a possibility of finding gravel. Those test holes all came in limited volumes and poor quality. So I don't need any action today. The rental of an excavator, as we're reclaiming the Lawrence pit area, or through the process of reclaiming, if we find pockets of gravel, an excavator can put it on our truck, and within the confines of the gravel pit, we can dump it on top of where we're going to be mining to increase the volume. So that's, I've got quotes from $1,800 a week to $2,500 a week. And availability is kind of a question. I'm gonna still keep working that way, that look at renting an excavator. Scott and I kind of talked that there may be some buildings or something in Java that are scheduled to be tore down. And we're paying, it's looking like $500 per trip from like Aberdeen, one of the vendors. If we're paying $500 for freight here, then satisfy two birds with one stone and only pay $500 once and those relocate it locally. So it's all going to be kind of dependent on the winter months. We can still work, so that's just kind of for your information. So
You just have to give me enough so I can get it figured out for over there.
yep. What I thought was available pending me informing you people today, I thought maybe I could have one on the ground tomorrow, but it's not working that way, so.
Could you still figure it out in 2 weeks with it?
I'm guessing, yeah. Yep. And that's kind of subject to how much gravel is being looked upon in that area in Glenham, so. You know, if it's 2,000 cubic yards, I wouldn't be comfortable saying how long that would take to haul it up, but it's all dependent on the test hole data that we're gonna be getting come tomorrow forenoon, so.
Is that 2-week timeframe going to give you enough time to get the reclamation and all that stuff? Plus get
The reclamation, this got nothing to do with the reclamation. If we're reclaiming, and we have a vision of what we want the surface to look like. If we're going with the scraper and cutting across gravel, okay, now we come in and we do a test hole in the gravel, and if the gravel is 10 feet deep, it's a win-win situation. Then it comes out, either goes on a scraper or a dump truck, and it gets dumped in the area where we're gonna be mining. The luxury is that micromanagement of that thing is like, I'm somewhat convinced that the gravel pit is spent, meaning there might not be any left. So the reclamation is an internal expense that it's not adding to the cost of the gravel when you crush it. It's something you have to do anyhow to reclaim it. So the reclamation part isn't going to influence the cost of the gravel after it's stockpiled. So.
I guess my question is that gonna give you enough time if you're thinking of using this material in the building?
I'll just do it after he's done.
And we considered, there's a couple of culverts by Ken Torsenson land out west that are rusted out, and considered the possibility, as long as they got that unit here, we'll dig the pipes up, put new ones in, but it's all subject to weather, so. For your information, the highway department's going back to 8-hour days the week of the 25th. And you can grab one of these and pass it around. That is the FEMA work that we have recorded. The expenses are actual. I want you to pay close attention to what the damage assessment cost was. You have reading information for you. If you check a site number 17, look at the actual cost and see what the damage assessment price was. It's kind of projected, and I'm not comfortable giving this information out, but it looks like we've got somewhere, I think it's on the report, somewhere around the $70,000 of expenses incurred with the recognized FEMA sites. And that's well below the damage assessment, so. There's no culvert work on that stuff yet. That's kind of crazy. The FEMA people indicated that just because a culvert is rusted out doesn't mean they're gonna pay for replacement. I had to physically go to each site and visually look, inspect the structure. Under their criteria was I had to prove that the flood event caused damage to the structure. I didn't see any. So the culvert work is kind of ugly. For your information for reading, and by virtue of that, I'm informing you where we're at on the FEMA stuff, so. I got a grandson that's screaming the long belt, so. Any questions?
Bid letting for scrap
Oh.
iron.
Yes, but
We have to wait till 10 on that, there's only one bid.
One other quick thing. I notice there's still load limit flags out. There's no load limit on right now, is there?
I'd like to know where you saw them.
I think I'll sit the road there some.
Really? Shouldn't be.
I can double check and call you.
Yeah, it could be somebody forgot to take them, but you guys established the load limits. And there's statutory conditions that I think April 1st is the deadline for postings, unless the county commission by resolution extends the weight limits. So if there was no resolution to extend them, then they shouldn't be in place.
I know we put it on this spring, but I don't remember ever taking them off.
Like I said, there's statutory guidelines that they can only be on from, I think the ending deadline is around April, third week in April. But if the spring melt is late, you guys by resolution can extend them, only by resolution, so.
I'll let you know if I see some.
Yep.
I
I'd like to
thought
know, so.
I seen some here this last weekend.
Gary, is there any other ones, or should I grab this?
I don't have anything on.
Alrighty, well, we'll just,
Need me for that?
no. We'll just,
We haven't done the lease for the recycling center yet. Are you wanting to continue recycling? There's been a lot of discussion there, it's a big cost. I know the public likes it. Got, lease is $12,000 a year. We have the utilities. 3 employees usually go there every Wednesday and do the weekly cleanup of it. We have lots of plastic that we don't have any place for. And I don't know what you guys want us to do with it. I mean, I think it's a good thing to do, but it is a big cost.
nobody's buying it right now, are they?
No. The plastic's probably gonna end up at the landfill. We can't even get cardboard picked up. At this time,
Getting anything picked up?
no. We can take the cans somewhere, but that's it.
I know when we started that lease over there, it seemed like it was a good deal, but it just seemed like it's been nothing but an expense. There's no place to go with it, can't get anything out of it, all we're doing is creating an expense.
Do you have any idea what a lot of the other counties are doing?
There's nobody that'll take anything, really. Our guy showed up to pick up the cardboard and got a phone call right when he showed up, said, nope, we're not taking it. I don't know, it's just something to think about. I don't think that it's a good idea to just stop it right now, but, you know. But they're wondering about this lease.
When's your lease up?
It's up at the end of the year, but they want it approved soon. I mean, they wanna know if they need to find someone else to rent the building, I'm sure, or something.
Before we moved that into that building, didn't Ryan have a bunch of stuff out in the shop out there, and it was taking up so much room?
We have no room.
And that was one of the big deals to move it in there, but I think the idea was, behind that was to hopefully generate some, not necessarily generate a lot of revenue, but maybe cover some of the expense to be able to get rid of some of that stuff through recycling. It doesn't seem like that's happened at all.
Well, and that's the worst part, we can't, we're getting filled up in there, we're running out of room.
You're gonna have to take it out to landfill anyway.
I think that's where that plastic's gonna end up. But we can, put this on the next agenda if you guys want, if you would stop by there, each of you, and see what's going on, so you can make a more informed decision on what you think we should do.
That's all bailed up pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, we bail it.
That's where there's no place out the landfill and it could be set outside.
I don't think that plastic would last some of our lands, even bailed.
You can use the baler for anything else.
we've used it before out at the landfill, but I don't know what they were using it for, that was before my time. I just know that's where it used to be. Maybe that was before we got the building.
I know there was doing some recycling out there.
Well, that's when we used to have somebody come get our cardboard and things like that.
I think we should hold off on the lease, signing this lease until the next meeting, I guess. What do you guys think?
And if you guys would give me a call when you have time, or if you know you're gonna be in Mobridge, swing over there, show you what we're dealing with.
Is there,
On Wednesdays, there's somebody there all day, if you think about it.
question for you, is there an advantage, even at the landfill, to have this stuff baled and bring it in the landfill?
We don't want it, I mean, it's taking up their space. And we're paying to take it. Whereas if we stopped the program, you know, it would come in on the trucks and
So we
we would
get
get
double whammy.
some revenue, yeah. And we like providing to the taxpayers, you know, and providing recycling, but if it's all gonna end up there anyways, then it's kind of,
Any chance we could sell the baler?
I don't know, I mean, I'm sure, but that's,
Is there, I guess the question, is there an advantage if we were to move the baler out to the landfill and bale the stuff before we buried it, is there an advantage to that?
well, it's already bailed.
No, I'm just saying in the future, stuff that would be coming out there.
If it's still being separated and we go pick it up, things like that, but if it's not coming out separate, then,
Coming in a garbage truck. or
yeah,
something.
you can't bail it. So we'll just table this for the next meeting, if you guys think about it, stop by there.
Okay, it's not quite 10 o'clock yet. We'll go to, is there any old business?
I have something for old business. The 6 counties that we did the jail presentation to are supposed to let us know, hopefully after today, because most of them meet today. So I think on the next, you want to put that on the next agenda, of what we're going to do with the jail, or?
They actually contacted me. There's a group of commissioners coming from each county to our next meeting. It's scheduled for 10 o'clock to discuss the situation.
Okay.
Yes, Josh.
That's all I was gonna say. She already, she got to it before me.
Yes, Becky.
Speaking of that, I'm not sure the amount of people that are gonna be showing up, but I would assume there's quite a few. Do you guys want to see if the courtroom's available for that part of it, or?
That's what I would suggest, just in case. Wouldn't hurt.
You wanna find out on that, Josh, and then let me know? And then I'll put it on the agenda that we'll move up there just for that part of the discussion.
Okay.
Any other old business?
One other quick thing, anybody found out anything about a public defender?
I thought- okay.
There was, I had sent that email out to the other counties. I think I forwarded all of those to you.
I seen
My
that,
responses.
so.
I did talk to Judge Meyer. He wasn't, I don't know, he said it could work and it might not work. Because you just need a bunch of different lawyers all the time, that's what his main thing was, you know. That's how he said it.
You're saying one couldn't handle all of them.
Oh, that's what he meant, and then would you save any money by doing that? That's basically what he was getting at.
Last month it was $8,500 for court-appointed attorneys. It's 1 month. I'm dumpster for the year, we're over. I'm sure it's gotta be 100,000.
Well, if you get a chance, you should probably talk to the judge too, so you can hear kind of how he had to say it. Yes.
10 o'clock.
Yeah. Anything else, Kevin?
Okay.
Okay, we'll go back to the bid letting for the scrap iron. This is the one.
Mhm.
Okay, this is a bid from N&W Auto Wenham. The bid is to clean up Swan Creek Bridge iron at the Jim Howe gravel pit, $180. This is the only bid. So I would take a motion to accept it.
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
Seconded.
Got a second, any more discussion?
Do they have to be insured and stuff like that?
Depends upon what you're wanting them to do, if they need to be insured or bonded or anything like that. I would assume, I don't know whether they are or not.
Where we put it, I mean, it's right on the gravel, I mean, so. On the pit, it's out wide open, so I don't think there should be much of a problem.
I'm just asking a question, if for some reason they go out there and like pick this up and look at this bid and all of a sudden somebody gets hurt or somebody, are we liable for that?
We'd always get sued. Whether we end up having to pay is the whole question. Whether they have coverage or not. They're gonna try and include us.
I guess I wouldn't know really what kind of ability would you have to have for that. I guess I would-
I don't know who they are, but I would assume that if they're operating, they have some type of coverage for their vehicles and things like that, so.
His name's on here. It's Wayne Sandmeyer.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got, so.
Any other discussion? I guess I think we need to just get rid of it, to be honest. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passed. 22, any new business?
Just one quick thing, Sunday, there's a 4-H recognition deal going on, and public is all invited. 1 o'clock is potluck supper or potluck dinner, and 2 o'clock the program starts. It is at the Opera House. I will not be able to attend, I'll be out of town, but any other commissioners, if at all possible, make it. Public is more than welcome to come and see all the stuff from the 4-H, so open invitation.
Alrighty. Anything else? Now I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We got a motion on the floor, I need a second.
Seconded.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.